aged fuel? Wasn't.
It was just,
Were the bottles full or were they empty?
They're full, and they're closed.
So it was, what do you think he would drink, what did you think he drank before the fight? Vodka or beer?
Beer, yeah, Coronas. Sorry.
You said that you stated that the last time the plane was inspected was a year ago. Do you think that any of the parts in the plane were out of date?
Well, I mean, they should, I feel like they should check the plane more often.
For the pilot and the drinking problem, do you know if, or why wasn't there any extensive testing before he took off on whether he was drunk or not, or intoxicated?
well, it was a small plane, and it was more of a personal kind of flight, because he had a co-pilot and 2 others. Yeah, so there weren't many people on the plane, so it wasn't as if it was a commercial flight, so there wasn't really anyone that was too concerned.
Was the co-pilot and the passengers drinking also?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I was reading the picture.
When you interviewed him, you said he did not mention his drinking. Do you think he was attempting to hide the fact that he was drinking, or he just did not think it worthy of mentioning?
He may have been, but the toxicology of him after the crash showed that he had the .05 blood alcohol.
I do feel like it was because he didn't want to share that information, because he was a very experienced pilot, and that could have tainted his reputation, so he kind of just wanted to avoid that.
How did he get the alcohol onto the aircraft without even noticing?
Again, it was a small flight, and
Shouldn't they have known that stuff without an aircraft would be bad? I mean, that doesn't go through TSA and international airports. You don't see that. Was there no security?
Well, I mean,
It was a private flight.
yeah, it was a private flight, and it's not a big commercial 747 or anything on that scale. And we are it took off from a small airfield. We are a small town, so I could see why people think that it shouldn't have happened, but I guess it ended up happening anyways.
Where did the plane take off from?
It took off from Prescott Airfield.
Where were they going?
They're
Flying around?
They went from Phoenix to Flagstaff to Prescott, back to Phoenix.
Do you know if he lost his pilot license for this? No.
So, I'm kind of confused on the findings that you have, because he claimed that he was intoxicated, and then there was an issue with the fuel. Which of those findings do you think was the main cause of the crash?
He said that he had checked the fuel, so we believe that he might have checked it wrong.
So because he was intoxicated, that was your first main finding?
You said that at first you said he was intoxicated, secondly you said it was bad fuel, and then thirdly, after you finished the presentation, you said that the plane has a bad reputation for engines, so why wasn't that part of the cause? Because you said the fuel goes through the engine wrong or something like that, and causes bad things to happen, so why wasn't that part of the cause as well?
we do believe that it is part of the cause. It all kind of went hand in hand with each other. So
He was intoxicated, and then on top of that, the plane already has engine problems, and because he was intoxicated, he put the wrong fuel into it. So it was just kind of a recipe for disaster there, just because of the fact that the plane has engine problems, and he was intoxicated, so he put the wrong fuel in.
Other than the intoxication from alcohol, was there any other signs of any other drugs, narcotics?
Did anybody check like the engine thoroughly before he took off?
no, there hasn't been.
There had been an inspection over a year.
Yeah. Before it was
Right. Was the drunk pilot, was he the only one that went through a pre-flight takeoff check, like run through?
Yeah, it was,
Or was it just, so it was just him?
It was just yes.
No one else contributed to that when they
No.
put their truck at all?
Going off what Tyler said with the pre-flight and everything, were the engines like working perfectly during the pre-flight, or were they?
He checked everything and it seemed to be fine.
You said it was a commercial flight. What did the company that was in
Well,
charge of
it was a private flight.
Okay.
Because you said he was intoxicated and that he probably he could have done his check of the plane and fuel wrong. And he was with 3 other people. Why didn't the co-pilot take him to his own standards and
The
check
other-
himself?
The other people, there were 5 other people,
They were
all
passengers.
passengers. They weren't,
There was no co-pilot?
no, there was somebody sitting in the seat for the co-pilot, but they weren't assisting him in flight or anything like that. They were just passengers.
How often did the pilot fly?
You,
Or how long had he been flying?
yeah, it says in there. Hold on. So, 1,138 hours.
That's
With
a lot of
helicopters.
experience.
With helicopters and planes.
And he did have an airline transport pilot certificate.
280 hours is generally on the lower side, especially for this, but he's a very experienced guy, so he's kind of a new guy in the Aero Commander.
How close did the plane come to making it back to the airport?
It
It
didn't
didn't.
have a chance.
It just started going down on its own.
It started going down while he was ascending.
If he was sober, could he have made the landing?
Yes, because he hit a
A telephone pole.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it made a crash into the university.
Why was there, I mean, even though it is a small flight, and it's not airline or national airport or anything like that, usually even small airports still have some sort of security. Why were they not checked going through for any alcohol beverages, drugs, or anything like that?
We don't know.
There wasn't really high security on that. They didn't really look into it, and because he was an experienced pilot, they could have just assumed that he knew what he was doing and that everything was okay.
No, but you would think because of him being intoxicated, they would have smelled the liquor on his breath, and they would have done a little bit more research into that and checked.
Maybe no one thought in his face and smells fun.
Did the pilot ever say why he brought those 2 Corona bottles from the flight?
He made no mention of them in his statement post-crash.
Did the passengers make any mention about the bottles or the possibility of him being drunk?
Do you know whether or not the passengers were drunk also?
They weren't.
Hey, everybody give a round of applause.